Am I the astronaut for wanting to postpone the wedding with my fiance because she tested me with a fake miscarriage? Trigger warning, miscarriage. I, 26 male, have been dating my fiance Vivian, 28 female, for 5 years, and we found out she was pregnant shortly after I proposed. We were both ecstatic about it, even though it wasn't planned. Vivian's parents were a bit upset that I got their daughter pregnant without being married to her, but having a wedding during her pregnancy seemed to calm them. They're religious, so this is why they were upset. She's currently 13 weeks pregnant, and 4 days ago, I got off work, so I immediately headed home to our apartment. I saw her best friend, Carly, 29 female, sitting on the couch looking very upset, which is unlike her, so I asked if everything was okay and where Vivian was. Carly told me that she was in our main bathroom, so I headed over to it and noticed that Carly was following me, which I think was a little strange, but brushed it off. I knocked on the door and asked if I could come in, which Vivian said yes to, so I opened the door and saw my fiance standing over the toilet with tears in her eyes when she looked at me. I immediately asked her what was wrong, and Vivian sniffled and told me that she miscarried, gesturing for me to look inside the toilet. I averted my eyes to it after I saw it and then started crying. I was genuinely sobbing, which I haven't done since Vivian revealed that she was pregnant, but those were tears of joy. I grabbed my fiance and hugged her tight while crying into her shoulder. Eventually, I looked up and saw in the bathroom mirror that Carly was standing in the doorway with her phone out like she was recording something or taking pictures. I let go of Vivian and asked Carly what the hell she was doing. Carly stammered and was going, while looking for an excuse. Eventually, my fiance fessed up and admitted that she didn't actually have a miscarriage and that it was a test to see how I would react if she actually lost our baby. What the f***? I essentially short-circuited, unable to comprehend how the hell Vivian and Carly, despite us not being as close, could do something so outlandishly cruel to me. I snapped out of it when Vivian attempted to touch my cheek and pushed her hands away. I didn't want to be near her or have her touch me at that moment. Carly and Vivian tried to stop me from leaving the bathroom, but I pushed past them so I could go to our bedroom. I haphazardly packed some clothes into an old bag and headed straight for the door after grabbing my keys. Vivian caught up with me at the door and tried to plead with me to stay and talk about what happened, but I told her I needed time away from her to process what happened. She didn't push for me to stay after that, but seemed disappointed about it. I ended up staying with a buddy of mine, Josh, 26 male, who told me that I could stay as long as I wanted once I told him what happened and commented on how up that was for Vivian to do to me. I'll admit I was childish and dodged Vivian's texts and calls except to let her know I was safe over the next 2 days. Once I felt stable enough, I invited Vivian to talk. I won't go into everything we talked about, but the reason why Vivian decided to test me was that she was afraid that I didn't actually want the baby and was caring for them because I had to, not to be seen as a deadbeat. I said that I understood her fears, but I legitimately wanted to be a father to our baby. I ultimately decided to stay with Vivian, but on the condition that we postponed the wedding until after the baby was born and we did couples counseling. Vivian said okay and left my friend's apartment. I honestly assumed that was it and I was going to go home soon after that. Boy, was I wrong. An hour after Vivian left, I got messages from Carly harassing me about forcing Vivian to have a baby out of wedlock, since I know that's not what her parents want, while insulting me. It got so intense that I eventually blocked her. Honestly, I just want some unbiased outsider perspective on this. Am I the astronaut? What? I feel like you, OP, handled this the most level-headed, calm way possible, and postponing the wedding until after the baby so you guys can go through counseling was probably the smartest, most cool-headed thing you could ever do. Carly might be a problem here, because there needs to be a conversation with Vivian to say who had this brilliant idea of faking a miscarriage and forcing me to look inside of a toilet and filming my reaction. Whose brilliant idea was this? Because who was standing in the doorway filming? And who was the first person you saw when you got into the apartment, sitting on the couch? I think friend Carly here is a manipulator. I think friend Carly here probably talked Vivian into this. Vivian had to go along with it anyway. Vivian had to say okay, and that's garbage. That's terrible for her to do that to you, period. It's not okay. But Carly seems like a problem child here for your relationship. Carly seems like a terrible influence. And talk to Vivian's parents and let them know what the hell their daughter just did to you. I think they'll understand you wanting to postpone the wedding and go through some counseling. I think they're going to understand that. And they're going to be very, very upset with Vivian, their daughter, and Carly, her batshit crazy friend, for pulling this shit in the first place. If they had a problem with having a child out of wedlock, how do you think they're gonna feel about faking a baby's death just to see how somebody reacts and filming it? How do you think they're gonna react to that? How do you think they're gonna feel about it? Probably not great. You think they're gonna be more mad about that than having a kid out of wedlock? Probably. So Carly, sit down. If someone ever did this to me, that's unforgivable. That is an unforgivable cruelty. This is the kind of thing you would never wish upon your worst enemy. Why your loved one would do that to you and push you through that to test you is beyond me. There's malicious intent behind this. This is not a real test. If Carly was behind making this thing happen, there is malicious intent behind it, and it is a seed of her trying to bust up this relationship. This is a seed of contempt. I think, there needs to be a conversation with Vivian about whose idea this was. Figure out how much of it was actually hers and how much of this was initiated by Carly. Figure out how bad of an influence Carly really is. I think you legitimately need to have a conversation with Vivian's parents here as well and explain everything that's going on to them. Yes, counseling is 100% needed. That's just to give you a chance. Right now, it is a just to have a chance kind of thing. Like, holy crap. And Vivian needs to understand that this Carly person is not her friend. She's destroying her life. She has to understand that and create some space. If I were put in that position, I'd be pissed. It's easy for me to stand here and be like, yes, I'd talk to Vivian's parents, talk to Vivian, figure out how involved Carly was. I'd be crushed and I'd be furious. So I don't know. I don't know what I would actually do in that moment. The smart thing I feel like to do would be to have the conversation with the parents and with Vivian to figure out what actually happened here and make sure the parents understand. And then, yes, take it slow. It's going to take time to heal from this. And this probably is still going to be an unforgivable but figuring out who is responsible, I think will go a long way. It's rough. Ugh. So the question is, am I the astronaut for wanting to postpone the wedding with my fiance because she tested me with a fake miscarriage? Hell no. Hell no. That's a tame response. That is the minimum. The minimum change in course is postponing and getting counseling. That is a very conservative response here. Tony Spark, you trying to punch in?
Yeah, so he didn't post an update or anything, but he does have a couple of comments on here. So he said, I know she's pregnant. We did go to a doctor together after she brought home a test and confirmed that she was actually pregnant. So we do know that's true. He said he didn't ask Vivian, but he's pretty sure it was Carly's idea. He said Carly was the one who called it a prank when it first happened and not a test, which is why I guess she was recording it. In her text, she was switching between saying just a test and a stupid prank, which confused the F out of it. So I would say it might be safe to assume it was Carly's idea. That's all the comments he has.
Some people just want to watch the world burn. Yeah, there's some social content, Carly. Good gravy. What are you, a content creator on the dark web? What is the deal? That is terrible. That person, Vivian, has to understand that this person is not a positive to your life. The whole 0 is greater than -1 thing. Carly is a negative. She has a negative influence. She's going to have a negative impact on your life. She's going to drag you down for eternity. You have to separate yourself from her, Vivian. She's already trying to destroy your family. You haven't even had your baby yet. She's trying to destroy your family. Like, what the?